Success is what makes you happy. Wise words, Jerry. Thank you. When it comes to turning a good event into a great one, this dynamic duo has got you covered. For our first speaker, here to share their story, their passion, and the obstacles entrepreneurs face in the experiential marketing space are the energetic and talented founders of Cotton Candy Events, Nicole Pollock and Jory Brown.
Really wanted to start off today with some energy because, again, that is what Cotton Candy is all about. So thank you very much, everyone, for having us today. My name is Jory, and this is my business partner, Nicole. And like I said, we are ecstatic to be here at Emerge, the 2018 conference. Like many of you, we did not study, unfortunately, we did not study media and journalism, but what we did do was create a company we are truly proud of and a brand we can truly stand by.
We might get a chance to go back to the video, but just to give you a little understanding of what it was supposed to show you, it was us, our team, and lots of activation photos trying to share with you the energy. This picture kind of screams it all with the yellow and the excitement. So we are going to talk to you today about, So we are going to talk to you today about the power of people. It's something that you probably have heard a lot in your, career to this point, or in your schooling, or in your education. But people have an incredible power. Without people, there's nobody to market to. There's no media. There's nobody to listen to you. So the power of people is very important, but also in specifically branding yourself. Like it was mentioned before, you individually are a huge piece to this puzzle. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. So I think the most important thing to chat about is who we are. Our job is to elevate brand experiences through creativity, passion, and people. So as you see the energy at any event that you go to, charity event, gala, whatever that may be, our job is to bring that event to life. So the marketing industry that we're in is twofold. Marketing itself is a big idea. It's working with sponsorships, creating a plan. What our job is experiential marketing. What we do is actually take that marketing idea, either work with the team to elaborate it, and then bring it to life. We create live experiences. That is our job. So we work in the marketing space, in the media space, but really the way you interact, you experience things as a consumer. So the next slide here is going to show you our services. So as you can see, we offer a lot of different services, but they're all based around people, whether it's promotional models, brand ambassadors, bartenders. These are all ways for you to connect with an audience. They're all ways for you to connect with a brand, an idea, an experience, a product, a service. So as you can see, I'll touch a little bit more on the creative concept. So this picture is actually a protein bar. They came to us and said, we want our protein bar to be in the hands of every young adult in the city of Toronto. It was October, it was playoff season, and we worked together to come up with this idea where the Jays were on everybody's mind, and we could take that and really create an experience around it where you were still doing the sampling of getting a protein bar, so you were really engaged by looking at these people with big bobbleheads walking around the city of Toronto. When Marcus Stroman was handing you your protein bar, you were stopping to take notice. And that's exactly what we do. Our job is to work with people and utilize people to make these experiences.
Awesome. So people often ask Nicole and I how we got started, how Cotton Candy came to be, and really how we identified ourselves, what our branding was, and what we truly stood for. And the answer is sports. You definitely don't want me on your sports team. I don't mean that. Don't want me on you. Yeah, you don't want me on your team. But we spend a large chunk of our 20s growing up dancing professionally for a variety of Toronto sports teams. And it's during this time that we learned invaluable skills, a mindset for success, a culture we identified with, and the reason we knew we could start a company of our own. working for these brands, for these sports teams, we were the ultimate brand ambassador beyond the players. When they were not available, we became the face of the brand and were the ones truly connecting with the community. We learned standards, expectations, how to arrive polished, upholding standards, delivering key messaging for the sports team, and really to be on brand. Working with these sports teams, they are obviously aligned themselves with different sponsors and different big partners and key players. So we would in turn do events for those brands, and it continued our understanding and our expertise of what branding was and how to properly represent a brand. What we really noticed is that anytime, any sort of event, a halftime show, whether it be out in the community, when the energy was lacking, they would call upon the brand ambassadors, the cheerleaders, the dancers, the people that brought the energy. And that's really a point when we realized that the importance to any event, any way to connect with people was truly through the importance and the power of people.
So as it was mentioned before, and I think it's extremely relevant, branding yourself is incredibly, incredibly important. And that's, what Joy was just explaining. Working for these sports teams, we had a great experience, a great leader, a great role model, and how to brand ourselves individually, knowing that we were working for these big sports franchises. They would really fine-tune the training for us and the discipline that we needed to put our image out there. Branding ourselves is extremely important. So no matter what direction your passion lies, branding yourself is the first step. So start with a mission statement to yourself. Who do you want to tell people that you are? It's a really interesting thought, and I know that you probably think it's a little strange, but if you actually had to make one sentence that described yourself or how you wanted your peers, your future employees, your colleagues to describe you, how would they describe you? How would you choose if you could say, this is one sentence, how would you want to be described? It's defining your identity. It's not as easy as it sounds, and it's incredibly important. Before you can find a niche in any type of industry, you need to find out who you are and who you want to share with people. Controlling your image and public perception. I cannot tell you in 2018, and I don't even know what 2028 will look like. 10 years ago, Facebook had just begun. Imagine where we are now. Imagine the ability that you have to share your image with people. But imagine and think to yourself how strong that image really is. You have the ability to control it. You are the one person who can control the image of yourself that you put out there. So be really cognizant of what you choose to share with people. Make sure that you want to share something that your parents, your colleagues, your future employer, 20 years down the road, if somebody put that picture up in a screen in a board meeting, would you be proud of the image that you put out there? Really, really make sure that the image that you put out there is what you want to attract. The law of attraction is a real and valuable thing. So really make sure that you're proud of who you tell people that you are. And only you can decide that. Nobody else can define that. And social media is your tool to do so. Some people are more comfortable with social media and share everything. And those people who share too much. And then there are those people who share very minimal. You can control that image that you put out there. So really think back about that. And don't be concerned that in time that image can't evolve and change. Absolutely. Who I was 10 years ago is not the same person as who I am right now and who I will be in the future. But it's very important to be proud of what you put out there and be able to stand behind it as you continue to grow. When we first started Cotton Candy Event Staffing, that was the name. It was a full name, and we fine-tuned Event Staffing. Fast forward, we're about to hit 4 years in our business, and as you can see in our logo, it's kind of shrunk down to Cot Can. That doesn't mean that Cotton Candy Event Staffing is not still what it is. But we really felt that when we first started, we had one direction. We were event staff. As we continue to grow, our identity continues to evolve. So we gave ourselves a kind of smushed together Cot Can that allows us to have a larger umbrella of the services that we can offer, the consultation, the management that we can. So as much as you want to brand yourself, don't be concerned that your brand can't evolve over time. As long as you are sure that you follow its path and are proud of what you put out there. And then when Joy and I came together, we each had our own personal brands. Granted, we both came from similar sports backgrounds, so our brands were very much aligned, but we had to give cotton candy an image. Cotton candy is the most exciting term. It is always connected with some type of excitement or positive connotation. So the brand that we created, and when we put together our brand, we thought, the first picture you saw, a whole bunch of people jumping up and down, pink background, yellow flooring. We really wanted to put out there an image that spoke to the type of clients that we wanted to attract. So that law of attraction works not only in your own personal life, but in your branding too. And once you fine-tune your individual identity, you can go on to attract future clients, future employers, whatever it may be that you're looking for. Your image is controlled by you, so brand yourself wisely.
So when we, engage in a new client, a new customer, the question we often ask them is, why did you choose us? Obviously, we think our skill set and what the product we have speaks for itself, but a lot of times it's people not having worked with us, but really them identifying with our brand. So we'll get comments like, your website was great, the photos, the energy your staff conveyed really is something that we identified and something that, now we have faith that you guys can represent our brand. So we learned that the only way people are going to trust us with their brand is if we had our own personal strong brand. And that's similarly how we look at the people that we employ and the people that work for our company as well. Taking a look at their personal brand, does it reflect cotton candy? Is it fun? Is it outgoing? Is it engaging? Does it scream fun? Is it in line with our branding? Because we want those sort of people to represent us. Because again, knowing that another brand is only going to trust us with their brand if they feel we have a strong personal brand. So here are a variety of brands and activations and photos and some of our staff that work with us. And, the colors, the energy that's portrayed out there, again, it's something that we're truly proud of. And again, you put out what you get back. You get back what you put out. Again, colors and energy, we've attracted and been able to work with some of the clients that we'd have ever so desired to when we first set sail with cotton candy.
So passion and relationships really do pave your way. So, not knowing where you're going to lead, neither of us have a background in media. Neither of us have a background in marketing. Neither of us ever set out until 4 years ago to be entrepreneurs. I was working in an office. I was working 9 to 5. This was not necessarily where we thought we'd end up or in any way where we thought we'd go. I feel like you always need to know. I feel when you're in school, you think you need to know your path, and if you don't know your path, you're a little panicked by that. I grew up dancing. Every family dinner, we would sit around the table, and cousins, aunts, and uncles would say, "It's awesome that you dance. You're a great dancer. What are you going to do with your life?" Great, thanks. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. Do I have to know what I'm going to do with my life? And I was a little bit down on myself in the sense that I wasn't dancing backup for Janet Jackson, and I wasn't going to be Bruno Mars' sidekick. I literally loved dancing, but I didn't think that was my life goal, and I didn't see how that could ever come together to help me build a business. It did. Every person I met through my dance career, every person I met through being in the sports industry, they are now either our clients or they have connected us with clients. Don't burn a bridge no matter what you do. That internship that doesn't hire you on, thank them very much. You never know where you're going to see them again. Never burn a bridge. Continue to network. Be out in the community. You don't need to know where where you're going. You need to know what you're passionate about, what gets you out of bed and gets you excited. I 100% was not you sitting in an Emerge conference learning about media, before I started this business. You are 10 steps ahead and maybe even more than I could have ever been at your stage. So be proud of the fact that you are a part of a community like this. Be proud of the fact that you will attend a conference like this and learn. If there's anything I can tell you, it's network, be out in the community, and really cultivate growth based on your passion. You don't need to know where you're going. It doesn't matter. If you know, that's great, and that's not to discourage you. And I probably bet in 20 years, even though you know where you were going, you maybe didn't end up there or changed it about 5 times along the way. Don't look for the end. Don't look for the final result. Think about everything as emerging, but everything is always changing. Really focus on the fact of your network is going to be your biggest asset. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. I certainly didn't think I wanted to be one, and I still sometimes don't even know that I am one. But it's about continuing to learn, learning about entrepreneurship, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur. The skills are valuable to a future employer, even if you're not an entrepreneur. And continue to learn business. That was one thing that I wish I could go back and do more of, was learn the back end of things, learn the finance side of things, learn the bookkeeping side of things. You don't need to like it. I certainly don't like numbers. You just need to have a background knowledge of it. You need to be as well-versed and well-rounded as you possibly can.
Do we have sound? That is integral to this. Yeah, anybody? I guess we'll try it. In any case, I will explain what the video is about, and we'll all cross our fingers that it does work. So we created this video. Again, it's always for us about coming up with fun, different ideas, again, to portray our brand, again, the branding of fun, excitement, engagement. So in coming up with this video, it was for 3 things we wanted to do. One of them was to do something fun for our staff, to create and foster an environment of exciting people and to really keep that culture going. The second reason we came up with this video was because we wanted to attract future employees. We do casting calls probably every season to bring on new talent, and we wanted to really, again, show people what cotton candy was all about and what they had to look forward to be part of our company. The third thing and the most important thing was to show our brand. And to show our brand, it's playing, no!
Okay, has no sound.
It has no sound, you can just watch it anyways. The third thing was to show potential clients, again, sticking to our branding and really pushing the messaging of fun, bright colors, that if you're gonna hire the staff of Cotton Candy, again, this is the product you're gonna get, fun, engaging people. So we recreated the Bruno Mars Cardi B video. Anyone know it? My goal today was that you would all stand up and we would all dance and we would just get the energy going, but I guess maybe anyone want to sing? Maybe we can all sing the song. So you can sort of see we don't take ourselves too seriously, obviously staying on trend with what's sort of relevant in the media world, but again, really pushing the idea of fun and excitement, so when we can send this and broadcast this to our clients and our potential clients and the agencies and brands that we work with, again, they really can catch the gist of, again, fun. This is probably like the bridge of the song. There's some good choreography going on. And again, this is just sort of getting everyone that works for us on board. We have, a variety of dancers and singers and actors and people that are not actors. And again, everyone sort of worked together to sort of, come up with a fun energy. That was good. And that's, Cardi B, Bruno Mars.
While you watch the end of the video, I'll kind of sum it up. Unfortunately, the media that we wanted to share with you today was the heartbeat of our presentation, and we hope that, you guys can feel it through this, and we can also have it sent out via email if that will be of value. But our real important, as you could see from the video, even though you couldn't hear the video, it's not just enough to have a great product, a great service, or a great idea. That is not everything in marketing. What makes media and marketing memorable is how you experience it. Everything is based on experience. It's not just how you saw it, it's how somebody greeted you. It's how you walked in the door and how somebody set the tone. It's a feeling that you leave with. People are the only entity that can bring that to you, can only bring you that one-on-one personal experience. Every brand, every sporting event that you go to, it's the game operations, it's the interaction, it's the big picture things that you feel individually. Somebody greeted you, somebody offered you a service, somebody showed you a product, somebody let you try something that you didn't have before, and it was delivered in a way that you remember. It's delivered in a way that makes you smile, and that's extremely important in what we do. And if we can leave you with any knowledge from today, the first most important thing, and it was mentioned in the opening, is branding yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. It's incredibly important to know who you are, know who you want to put out there. If you sit on LinkedIn and send your resume out to everyone, that's great. What does your picture look like that you're on LinkedIn? Did you pose really seriously with a bookshelf behind you and think that that makes you, more interesting to an employer? Really think about that photo. Really think about the imaging. Really think about the big picture and the message that you want to share. The cliche term, a picture is worth 1,000 words, is a legitimately true thing. It is real, it is relevant, and in this day and age, it is everything. So really be proud of who you are. If you don't buy into your own brand, if you're not buying what you're selling, I'm certainly not buying it. You have to put your passion out there, stand behind your brand, and don't think of, I want to pretend to be this, so this is what I'm going to share. Really dig down deep. Think about who you are, the type of jobs that you want to look for, the type of people that you want to interact with, the type of events you want to go to. Surround yourself with like-minded people. Surround yourself in a community where you feel that you can thrive. Let your brand guide you. Let your brand shape you. It is your most important tool. It is all yours. It is the only thing that you are 100% in control of. So really, really focus on letting that be your guide. We would love to answer some questions. We'll also be here, through lunch. So if you want to chat one-on-one or you have any ideas or thoughts or things that you want to ask us, but if there's any questions that you have to open the floor, we'd love to answer them for you.
If you're in the audience, hello. If you're in the audience, you have any questions, you can come down here and ask them directly to the people on stage, or you can also use our Slido app, or slido.com, slido.com, and add in Emerge 2018. Well, I have one to start it off. I loved your topics on branding, not only your brand as a company. Energy and positivity really is the future. Everyone's going that way, and it spreads. It spreads like everything. Everyone loves that energy, that happiness, and bringing that to everything you do. But how do you find your own personal brand in such a saturated area? You know what I mean? Like, it's so important to have that personal brand and believe in it, but how can you find that for yourself?
I think it's kind of going back to the things that you wake up in the morning and enjoy. They don't always have to be, we have a pretty, not glamorous, but we had a pretty out there experience. We were dancers, we were performers, we worked with sports teams, but it can be something as, as small as something you enjoy watching or something you enjoy doing, or, just think of it on a small scale. We were very fortunate to have it on a grand scale, but it doesn't have to be that way. Just little pieces of things that you find enjoyment in. Follow those, join groups, whatever it may be. There's so much access to so many community engagement things that can be so small. And at the end of the day, if you don't know where that leads you, get involved in a charity. Everybody can get involved in a charity. It will teach you the smallest little thing, and maybe it will help you develop skills in other way. But if you're sitting here thinking, oh good, you were a dancer, that was easy for you. If you don't have something that you find passion or a talent or something that kind of guides you, that little voice that tells you, I really like this, get involved in a charity. Because that's not to say that you're going to be a philanthropist for the rest of your life and you're going to go on to build houses around the world. But it's just a matter of meeting new people, new communities, new ways to spark interest.
Awesome. Jory, did you have anything else to add?
Nicole, as you can see, is obviously more this is the speaker in this duo.
I'm the loud one. She's the
I'm the
creative
internalized creative one. So exactly building off what Nicole said.
And then one other question I had is that how did you get cotton candy? What about cotton candy drew you in?
Yeah, again, we sort of narrowed ourselves to identify what we wanted to be. And again, it was fun. We knew from the sporting side of things that what people wanted was energetic, fun people. So we were sort of brainstorming things that elicited, a fun, happy feeling. And we threw out a whole bunch of words. And we sort of just stuck on cotton candy because when you think of cotton candy, you sort of think fun. You think there's nothing else you can think but fun.
When you're at a basketball game, and somebody comes up to you in your seat and hands you a T-shirt or a prize, we would see the excitement on people's faces. The only thing that we wanted to try and emulate was that one-on-one moment where you felt like I was noticed, I was singled out. So cotton candy there was a lot of different things that came into our heads, but that was just one of them that we had that bubbly, excited feeling about.
Awesome. We've got a few more questions from the crowd through Slido, so I can read them out to everyone, and if you guys want to move on from there. So the first, most popular one, other than what your name is and how you got there, is what's the biggest risk you guys have taken for moving from professional dancers into moving into a much more entrepreneurial role?
Everything. Literally everything. Leaving a salary job, leaving somewhere where you felt like you had, if you didn't work out, you had the protection of working for a business. I think that, being an entrepreneur is a really scary thing. And this wasn't a company where we were trying to get funding and get investors. This was one of those that was inside of you. You really had to trust your gut on this one because there wasn't a lot of overhead. We didn't need to buy merchandise. We didn't need to have an office or a warehouse or supplies or anything like that. We were selling the idea of engaging people. The great thing is there isn't a lot of overhead. The downside is if people aren't buying what you're selling, you have no business. So I think that was the scariest part of it all was just, having no safety net.
Yeah, I think at the same time, Nicole was working a 9-to-5 job, and I was sort of concentrated on this. And I knew that, she was the caught to my can. She was the one that would sort of, solidify this partnership. So it was me sort of convincing her, you need to leave your 9-to-5 because I need your full undivided attention. So that was a big risk because, again, we believed in what we had to sell. We believed in the power of people, and we needed to believe in each other to sort of go full force with it. So that obviously, I think it's sort of cliche, obviously it's sort of believing in yourself and shutting things down and really focusing your attention on one thing, which we did.
And like Joy said, I'm the loud one. I'll call it passionate because that's a really nice way. But being able to get that out there, one person alone can only do so much, but working together, your power and strength becomes even greater.
Another question is, how has it been collaborating and starting a business with a friend, and would you recommend it? You guys seem not only very close, but very supportive of each other, and so I'm sure a lot of people here would wonder how they can achieve a similar thing for themselves.
For sure. Believe it or not, Nicole didn't, and I didn't start off as friends. I was actually her coach in a sports environment. So, our relationship, I think, after grew to become good friends. So we didn't necessarily, like I said, start as good friends. We both, I saw a passion in Nicole, a similarity between sort of how we saw people, how we engaged with people, what we were doing outside of sports in our personal lives. I think we've been able to exist because, like I said, we weren't friends before, but we've sort of grown this baby. Our company is our baby, and we are raising it together.
I think it's also sometimes not as good to start a job or an entrepreneurship. No, it was great. But when you are too close of friends, there was a really big respect between us. We always really got along well, had similar thoughts, but we weren't buddy-buddy at first. So I think you can start and give your opinions in a different way than, hurting somebody's feelings when you're too close.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. Another thing I want to say is that as two women in a business that is dominated by a lot of men, have you guys encountered any major challenges, and how did you get around those?
I think the major challenge is not us being women. It's more the idea that we're selling beautiful women, which is not at all what we're doing. And I know that, people seem to think oh, you do events, so you'll send pretty girls to my event. And that's not at all. We're selling a piece of marketing. We're selling an experience. And there are both males and females on our roster, and it has nothing to do with being beautiful or being pretty. It's a personality trait. And I know that people will roll their eyes and in the back of their head think otherwise, but really, I think that the hardest part in this space is when you meet these individuals that you see their smiling faces, they are as talented, as strong, as driven, as educated as anybody else. So the idea of, women in work, we've been fortunate enough to not be shunned based on our gender, but I do think what we do is sometimes minimalized because of the image that we put out there. So our personal brand has changed over time, and we really have tried to embrace both males and females, and in a fun and engaging way, but not in a sexy way. If you get sexy from that, that's what you took from it, but that's not what we're putting out there.
That's awesome. And then the big question and the big theme of today is, how do you guys define success personally?
When that was mentioned earlier, I thought, I don't even think of myself as successful. Why am I talking here today? So I don't necessarily think that success has a definition. I think success is the desire to keep going, the desire to keep pushing yourself. Success is not, when I get here, I'm successful, because I don't think I'll ever feel that. And the fact that we're talking here today, we're not talking here about, look at what we've done, we're successful, because that's not at all what we're sharing today. What we're sharing is that we believe in something, that we're passionate about something, and we are continually learning and growing. That is our idea of what success is. That success is to keep pushing your boundaries, to keep elevating yourself, your brand, your partner, the people around you. That's success. I don't think that I could define success as a certain milestone or experience that we could possibly hit. I hope that we never feel successful, because I always want to have that element of hunger and humble to continue to grow.
Yeah, I think success is sort of having a direction. I think we were sort of lost, doing different things before we started Cotton Candy, and just sort of the idea that we're finally onto something, and now we can really live out our passion. Just having direction and a place to go. That to me is success right now.
That's like a really awesome contrast to what a lot of people say, that a lot of them have milestones. A lot of people have very concrete definitions, whereas that's such a flip. It's an attitude. It's a personality. It's a way of working more so as a thing to accomplish. And I think that's really cool, because that never ends. Then your success never ends.
We kind of stumbled upon this. It's something that we love. We kept running with it. But like I said, this was not what we had set out to do. And I think that always gives us an element of somewhere new to achieve, because we know that the next step could be anything. This was a huge step for us, but we never saw it coming. So we continue to welcome those new challenges so we have an ability to rise.
And then I think our final question for today is I saw it and I think it left. It was, how do you guys kind of make up the difference between your own creative vision versus clients' creative vision, especially in like a media field, a media industry? A lot of people here have their own media craft, be it videography, photography, web design, journalism. All of it has its own creative aspect. How do you get over, your creative vision versus a client's maybe very different and very wild creative vision?
It might be different based on different media outlets, but for us, what the client says goes. So as much as we give our 2 cents, we have brainstorming sessions, we try to share as much of our knowledge. All we can do at that point is, if their creative vision is different, we have to adapt ours. That's not to say in video, if there's technological, limits, that's not to say that in those fields it might be different, but when we're doing interactions with people and events, our creativity and our passion and our opinions only go so far, and then we kind of have to say, at the end of the day, we're going to succumb to whatever you think is best. But when it comes to certain things, we do have our limits. We have turned business away if we don't think it's in line with our values. I'll never say to somebody's creative vision, that's not good, mine's better. even though it probably is, but it's not. I'll never actually say that to somebody because it's not about that. There's no better, there's no different. They just see it differently. Everybody sees media so differently. So it's not that. The only time we'll really push back is if we think it's crossing a line that goes against something that we believe in, or that if we were putting people in place, we wouldn't be proud of the product. We wouldn't be proud of what we put out there. Some clients, they just do it anyways. It's not about that. Obviously, it's about money. Whoever says business isn't about money is not in business, okay? You need to put a roof over your head, you need to pay your bills, and you want to be successful. Money is a real thing, and we all need it. But it's more so the idea of never doing something that we don't want to put our name on. If you look at our social media, and I believe our handle was that before, but if you look at our social media, those are things we can be proud of. If I'm not proud to put it out there, if we don't believe that our future clients want to see that, it's probably not a good fit for our company to take on that opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you very much for all of your stories, your wisdom, and everything you've passed on to this audience. We're going to wrap up the questions there. And we're going to do a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back in 10 minutes because we're going to give away some door prizes. Everyone's got a chance to win, so come back in 10 minutes. Take a minute to stretch your legs, get some stuff. And thank you very much to Nicole and Jory. Thank you very much, guys.